guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is episode 6 of the Happy Mail Time series, and today we are going to work on packaging and wax seals. So I've got a couple of things in front of me. So I have the notebook I made in the last episode, so you guys saw this one already. And what I like to do before I package it up is I like to actually stick a little something in the pocket and sometimes into the front cover before I close it, so that just adds a little something when the person opens it up. So what I have is the stickers from 2 episodes ago that I picked out, and I cut off the edges a tiny bit just so it'll fit a little bit better in this pocket. But I also thought that I might put in a couple of sticky notes. So I have, let's move this. I have this box, which I have repurposed. So it's actually a Bear and Fig like notebook box, but I've repurposed it to hold all of my like fun little sticky notes. And I want to see what might look kind of nice. So what I'm thinking of doing is actually putting something like right in here so that I can stick some sticky notes in there. All right, let's see. What are we going to do? So I have this like kind of brown and silver theme, which I don't really have any brown. Ooh, I do have some brown. All right, so I think we are actually going to use these little sticky notes, and let's see, maybe some of these. All right, so move this off out of the way. Okay. So one of the hazards with these like fancier type of sticky notes is that sometimes they don't always stick as well as you would like. So I'm hoping that that will not be the case this time. But I just peel off a couple, somewhere between 5 and 6, because if you do too many, then it just gets too bulky and you can't actually write on the paper. So grab a couple of these. Oops. Stick the little flags. Okay. So I have 2 different types of sticky notes in there that the person can use, and stick the stickers in there. And so when you close it, there's just like a tiny little hangover, but not too bad. So now that I've done that, I'm gonna go ahead and move sticky notes off to the side. Once I do that, I like to package it using a wax seal. So I have a couple of steps that I kind of go through with this, and I will show you what I do. So first step, I have saved scraps from the notebook, and I think that I'm actually going to use some of this leftover vellum and probably one of the craft. I think we're gonna go craft, and actually let me just make sure that it's long enough. All right, it's probably gonna be long enough for what I want, but we will just keep that to the side and check. So, oops. Move these out of the way. I also am going to pull out, I have this set of doilies. It's actually 2 different sets that I just combined into one thing that I got from Michael's, if I remember. And I'm gonna pull out, whoops, one of the tiny ones. I think we're gonna go with this one, because that's like a, ooh, actually, no, yeah, I think I'm good, no. Yes, a little indecisive on that one. So, have a little doily, throw that back in there, okay, and then I have my seals. So I have a couple of different things. I actually also have this little box, so I'll show you guys. So whenever I get like craft tags or extra like twine or ribbon or what have you, I kind of throw it into one of these 2 boxes so that I can then repurpose them for Happy Mail. So I've got a bunch of craft tags in here, so I don't think I'm going to use those. And actually the only reason that this craft tag was in here is because it's too big to fit in that little box. Only reason. So I think what I'm going to do is, taking a look at my main twine, I think I'm actually gonna do black, because then I've got this like craft what have you, and then I'll have the black over it. So I think we're gonna use this one. I'm gonna just put this back here. Whoops, there we go. And then I have a couple of wax seals and wax. So let's move this off to the side. So I have 4 different wax seals. This was actually the first one I got, and I know I've talked about the store Hema on my channel before. So it's a local store we have here, and they've got super cheap stationery stuff and like kitchen stuff and beauty stuff, like just they sell a lot of stuff. And at one point they had wax seals, and so they had a star. So it's not like the fanciest one of my seals, but it's a nice simple one. Then I ordered these 2, I think it was from Stickerrific if I remember. So I have a compass rose, and I also have a quill and inkwell. And then my most recent purchase was actually while I was at the DC Pen Show. They had, I will check on this, but I think it's LIGHTBRINGER Designs, and I actually got this really cool gear, which I am super excited about. So I think for this particular look, I am going to go, let's see, I think I'm going to go with the pen and ink since it's a notebook, and because I'm doing flowers, I don't want to use a super geometric seal for that one. That's why I'm kind of not going with those ones. We're going to do the pen and inkwell, and then I have, oops, all of my wax, and I do let my wax cool down before I put it back in this box and close it, so definitely think about doing that. So I have these are the waxes that I had, and then I actually bought wax while I was at the DC Pen Show. So, hold on a second. I have one more in there. There we go. I knew I had gold. So I have gold, burgundy, copper, white, red, and black. And then I also picked up an extra copper and gold, and now I also have gray. So I think since I have been keeping this more like monochromatic theme, so a lot of black and white and craft, I think, and I'm gonna do black, whoops, black here. What do I want to do? So I don't want to do a black seal. That's definitely going to be too harsh. I think red is going to be too bright. I actually kind of think I might do this burgundy. Yeah, I think we're going to do burgundy. Okay, so, and you will notice, for example, on this one, I have burned my wax, which is a no-no. And I will go ahead and just say I am not an expert in doing wax seals at all. I'm still figuring it out, but even when you kind of screw them up, they look cool. So let's see how this is gonna go. So I also, when I do things like wax seals, so I need, whoops, my scissors, and I like to have my glue runner, and I'm also, for this doily, probably, hopefully, going to use a stamp, which we'll see how it works. Maybe I won't, maybe I will, maybe I won't. We'll see how it goes. So sometimes I actually will use larger strips of paper that I then kind of fold over and give kind of a, I don't know, a different sort of look to it. But for this one, I actually wanted to have shorter strips so that I could then use the doily. So I think, let's see. I think what I'm going to end up doing is doing this and then doing the vellum on top of it. I think that's going to be the easiest way to do this. All right, so because this is like just a hair too short, it works out that I want to put the doily on top. So I like to do a little bit of glue to kind of hold it down, oops, rather than trying to rely on the string to actually hold everything in place. And I do tend to do a little bit off center, just because. And let's see, I think I'm gonna do a little stamp here. I probably should have not done the stamp directly on there, but we're gonna make it work. So I've got all of my inks. So since I'm gonna do a burgundy, I think I'm gonna do, oops, I think I'm actually gonna do this aged mahogany, just to kind of tie in, since I don't have that color anywhere else in like this entire Happy Mail, I'm gonna tie it in with that. So, and also this is Distress ink, so it's a little bit lighter than some of my other ink pads. And we're gonna do this direction. Okay, there. Okay, so just a little stamp, and normally I have like a baby wipe or something to clean it off, but I'm just gonna steal this paper towel I have. There we go. Okay. And then, so this one I'm making sure that I have the silver on the outside so that we can see it. And I'm gonna do it, ooh, I might have not exactly done this the way I wanted to, but that's okay. We're kind of playing with this. So I'm going to, how do I want to do this? I think I'm actually going to do it kind of like that. All right, we're going to see how this works. So a little bit of glue, just enough to kind of stick it down so it doesn't fly up on me. So you can still kind of see the stamp under there, but it's not super visible. So just adds a little dimension. And then I'm going to somehow, whoops, get enough of this unwound. There we go. All right, let's see if I can get this to stay on camera. Gonna need to do, whoops, a little bit longer. Okay, so there. And depending on how I do it, sometimes I'll do where I have the paper kind of going this way, and then I'll do this wrap around and do like a cross kind of thing. So like you would do for a normal package. Sometimes I just do it around like this. It just kind of depends. So I'm gonna tie a bow, oops, a somewhat lopsided bow, but that'll be okay. There we go. So now that I've got this kind of set up the way I want it, make sure that everything's kind of on there. Make sure I have my two little ends there. So now what I want to do, there we go, zoom in a little bit more for this part. So now I need to do my wax. So I use a lighter like this. I tried using sort of a standard, like, you know, like a cigarette lighter kind of thing, and I burned myself, so I don't like to do that. So I take a lighter like this, and this is actually my wax seal lighter. I don't use this for anything else. It's specifically designed for this. It lives in my craft drawer. And I start heating up the wax. Now, this is the part where you guys will see I have no idea really what I'm doing. I kind of wing it. I know you're not supposed to like actually burn, which I'm totally doing. You're supposed to like heat and melt without like catching it on fire. So if anybody has wax seal tips, let me know. I at some point would really like to get a spoon where I could just cut off a little piece of wax and then heat it over a candle and then pour it on. I just have not actually gotten one yet because I have noticed that I'm not actually getting any better at doing wax seals. So yeah, let's see. So this always takes a little bit of time. Starting to get a little bit of a melt there. And once again, anybody who is really skilled with wax seals, please leave in the comments, give me some tips. Since you guys will actually see on camera what I'm doing, you can point out what I'm not doing as well as I could be, which is probably most of it. Let's see. Oops. And I always have a hard time keeping it kind of neat because I'm just not very good when I'm getting it to melt. There we go. All right, whoops. And I did a bad thing and actually caught my wax on fire. Whoops. So now that I've kind of got it in there, and again, you can tell I don't do a very neat job. And I probably put way too much wax because this is actually a fairly small seal. But you know, you guys know I'm not really super concerned with everything looking perfect. I kind of like it when it looks a little wonky, so I don't really mind that I don't have perfect circles and whatnot with my seals. I would like to get better at it so I don't actually burn my wax and so that I have a little bit more control, but overall the like end result I'm not super unhappy about. So because I actually did a little bit too much wax, I'm gonna let this kind of sit on here for a little while longer, let it dry a little bit better. And you'll notice that I have the wax kind of standing up on its end so that it'll dry before I put it back in my metal tin so it doesn't like stick or continue melting and do weird things and all that kind of stuff. So let's see. So sometimes when I do little envelopes like this, you guys will notice I did the stickers on them from a couple videos ago. Sometimes I will do wax seals on something like this where I have like a decent amount of space, but not usually if it's something that I am hopeful that the person can use again. Also, I try not to do too many wax seals in something that I'm gonna mail in the post because it can get a little bit lumpy and sometimes they get a little bit destroyed in the mail. So like when I package it up, I think, oh, this looks really cute, but I've had pen pals who are like, yeah, it kind of came and it got a little bit battered just going through the mail in general. So I try not to do too many in one like happy mail just because there's a higher risk of it, you know, more bumpy bits, higher risk that it might get a little bit messed up, but hopefully just one will still kind of keep its shape and all that. And also I have other things that I'm going to put in the envelope so that hopefully it will kind of protect that. So let's see if this is dry. There we go. So you'll notice that I probably should have moved it down a little bit because I couldn't quite tell where my upper edge was. But there you have how I like to package my little notebooks. And honestly, notebooks are the thing I use wax seals for the most just because I like the look of it and it's, you know, easy enough to do stickers and stuff on things like envelopes. I do like this particular look for wrapping up my little notebooks. So that is what I have for you guys on wax seals. Like I said, if you guys have any tips or tricks or things that I should be doing differently, please leave them down in the comment section for me because you guys can tell I need some help on this one. So that is all that I have for you guys in this particular video. I will see you all in the next one. Bye.